G'day all. I'm going to do a little video, haven't done one in a long time. This one's going to be about a Ryobi hedge trimmer. Do I have the... I believe the part number for this is RHT6060. So, it was $170 in Australia from Bunnings. I went shopping. I intended on spending double that actually. However, the three places I went to had no electrical corded hedge trimmers, and that's what I wanted. They were all trying to push me towards, and the stock was telling me that as well. But also the staff was trying to, talk up the battery operated stuff. I watched a few reviews, and the conclusions I come up with was, no, I didn't want to spend that much because I'm only going to trim my hedges maybe twice a year. So I can't justify a cheap one's going to be shit. Not good enough. Because I will have some branches, some little branches that I'm going to have to go through that might be about 12 mil or something like that. The better ones, they're more in your 36 to 40 volt range, so that requires the different battery to what I've already got. I've got the Ryobi 1 system, 18 volt. They're only sort of like a weekend warrior sort of quality bunch of tools, but they've been really good for me, and they do everything that I need to do. I don't need to step up to a Milwaukee, AGE, DeWalt, Makita, etc. like that. Their batteries are really expensive, and their tools are expensive. So I did have the option that I could potentially borrow like a 8 or 9 amp hour battery from work if I really needed to do a job over the weekend or just for a day. I'm sure they'd let me take a battery home for the weekend. But still, the skin or the trimmer plus a charger and battery is going to set you back at least $400 plus, if not getting closer to the $550, $600 range. And there's more expensive ones than that again. So, however, they're also not as powerful as the good old corded ones. So if you're going to be within, say, 25-30 meters of a power outlet, power socket, and you've got the smarts to keep an eye on where your cord's going to be, I think it's hard to beat the power of a corded one. And this one here is a 600 watts. So if you're going to put your battery, if you buy one and it's only got one battery, A, it costs a lot of money, and B, you can only use it for as long as the battery lasts. Then you've got to put it on charge again, etc. So that's another thing that holds you back. If you want 2 batteries, good batteries are well over, probably close to $200 or more. So think about that. So if you wanted to have your tool plus an extra battery, there you go, you're climbing up near $1,000 for something that you're not going to use a lot. So you just got to weigh it up. That wasn't an option for me. So after watching some things online, doing a little bit of research like I always usually do, it seems like a corded one was the way to go. I wanted to get the Makita 670 watt one, but nowhere had them in stock. So I ended up with the Ryobi. It's a 600 watter, and I think I've got the specs right here. Yeah, okay, so these are the specs. Electrical head trimmer, model RHT6060 6060. Rated power 600 watts. Rated voltage 230 240 volts, 50 hertz. No load speed, 1500 RPM. Blade length 60 centimeters, that's about 24 inches for the American guys. Cutting capacity 28 millimeters, so that's definitely over an inch, so that's pretty hefty, and that's what I mean, like that's what I was looking for. I wanted something that had the grunt to be able to punch through a bit of a branch if you had ran into a branch, and 28 millimeters. I wouldn't attempt to try and cut through a branch that's 28 millimeters, but basically that means the spacing between the blades, and I'll show you. Okay, getting back, the weight is 3.8 kilos, so basically nearly 4 kilos. It's fairly heavy. That would have to be like, you know, getting close to around your 8 pounds. Then it's got all these vibration ratings and shit, but we won't get into any of that. That's just unnecessary jargon. If vibration's an issue, probably pay someone to do it, or strap your wrists or wear gloves or something like that. Okay, so I'll turn this around and show you the machine. So quickly, yep, bought this because the cord, you're not going to run out of batteries, and it's got more grunt. Job done. That's what I was looking for. Okay, I'll get back. Okay, so this is what we've got. It's plugged in at the moment. Typical Ryobi colour, 600 watts. So there you go, 600 mil or 24 inch bar length. And when I was talking about, can we see? And that's what they're talking about there. As you can see, my finger next to it, my finger will fit inside there, so they're talking branches like about as fat as my finger. Now up the end here, I was also wanting one with a bit of grunt, and these last 4 blades, see how they're not rounded like that? You can use this part, the last 5 inches or so of your bar, as a saw to cut through or saw through any bigger branches. A little hanging hook to hang it on the wall. This has a safety guard, so to pull the trigger and for this thing to fire up, and underneath here, that's your safety, so you got to pull that on, and here's your trigger underneath here, and that won't turn on unless you've pulled on that safety. And it's also got a built-in delay of 3 seconds, so you can't accidentally fire it up. This also has a rotating head here. You got this little lever here. You pull that lever up and you can rotate the head around to make it a little bit more comfy. It's really hard to do one-handed. There we go. It's going back. How am I going to be able to hit the 2 safeties while holding the camera? It's going to be very difficult. Anyway, zip tie it. I won't do that. Okay, so what else it's got? They call it the Hedge sweep. This thing sits on top of the bar like that, with the angled part facing backwards, and the square end at the end of the bar like that. And then what that does is, as you're sweeping the hedge trimmer side to side, instead of all your brush falling back down through your blades and jamming everything up and making it less of a neat cut, that thing, like, as you're sweeping it, just sort of like just sweeps it out of the road. That's really all it does. It also comes with this like little case for storage. You just put that back over the blades when you go to hang it up or store it wherever you're going to store it. So yeah, this is just a little bit more of a close look. And yeah, Yeah, we're not going to get this to turn on. Hang on. Wonder if I can do something like... It's really going to make this hard. Oh. Okay, so pulling the safety on, pulling the trigger now. So it only seems like it's about 1.5 second delay from when you pull the trigger on, but it's not very loud. Nowhere near as loud as a two-stroke one. Anyway, I'll give it a bit of use and maybe get some footage if I can get someone to hold the camera, but if not, I'll get back and tell you my thoughts. Rightio guys, so had my first little use, and something that I'll tell you is I have this little loop here, and at first I had the cable running from the tool looped around and then going to the extension lead. It's far better to put the actual extension lead itself looped up through here and then plug the tool in to the extension lead, so that way there, if you get hooked up on anything, it doesn't pull the lead out. Okay. The other thing that I forgot to mention is it did say lightly oil, with a light oil between before and after use. I just used a little bit of lanolin spray lubricant, just held it a little bit off because lanolin's a little bit thicker. So I just held it off that little bit more and worked well. Okay, anyway, this is what I've done. And this is the very first time I've trimmed any hedges. I'll come down here and show you. I don't know if the light's going to work very well, but anyway, it's probably not the straightest job in the world, but that's what I could reach from the ground. I don't know, it's hard to see through the camera whether it's going to show much, but it's looking quite dark here as well. But anyway, this is down beside the shed, and you'll see this looks a bit better. Okay, so it's a concrete fence, so I didn't want to get the blades too close, but didn't do too bad. It took down a lot of material, and I did use the little chainsaw-y section at the front, and I was cutting through some, there's my thumb and fingers as a size comparison for the branch. Can I get a finger 90 degree with parallel with that? Not really. So that's at least as thick as my finger. I went through there, no drama. And I think this one's a bit bigger. There we go, that's a bit thicker than my middle finger. Here we're going towards my thumb. About as thick as my thumb. So all in all, fairly sort of happy. So obviously my job can be a bit neater, but anyway, I'll get a bit better with some practice. The only thing it didn't do was stop all the stuff falling into my face, and luckily there was no spiders. And anyway, what I did notice was my forearms got a little bit fatigued, especially my left one, because that's the one that's got to hold that safety. So you've got to squeeze that safety on, because if you don't hold it tight it will come off. So you're squeezing it and you're doing all your forearm grips and motions with that arm. So yeah, I could definitely feel in the forearm. If you haven't used one for a while, or never before, I'd say your forearm will definitely get a little bit of a workout. So anyway, all in all, seems quite good. Righto, so I've just finished using the Ryobi 600 water corded hedge trimmer. What do I think? Not bad. Okay, so final thoughts are, I'm pretty impressed with the power and the cutting speed. The RPM seems to be good, it cuts quite well. If you keep it sharp and well oiled and cleaned, I think it's going to be quite good. It's got a 4-year replacement warranty, so that's pretty good. Keep your receipt. And it was definitely handy having that turnable head on the trigger end. That came in handy to get into different shaped corners and things like that. The weight did sort of, I just did roughly about an hour's worth of hedge trimming, and yeah, in my forearm, my left forearm, I can feel that had a bit of a workout. If you don't need one this powerful, and if you don't have heavy hedges, or they're not real thick, and you don't need to go through heavy branches and things like that, maybe the smaller, lighter one would probably be good. However, what you can do with this as well is just use it in short bursts. So maybe do the top one day, do the front in one session, do the back, maybe the visual parts that your neighbours and street frontage can see, maybe do that side, then maybe do the top, give your arms a break, and then do the back side, however you see fit. So just break it up. I think it's always good to have a big motor, lots of power that you don't need to use, rather than having a smaller one that doesn't have the power when you need to use it. So bigger motor, less it has to work. It'll probably last a lot longer than getting thrashed out by having a smaller one. So it's a balance. Either way, $170 Australian. That's not on special. That's just the everyday price at Bunnings Warehouse. So not that I like to shop there, but they seem to be maybe the only ones that sell Ryobi in Australia. So just shop around, guys. What do I think? Out of 5, I'd have to give it a solid 4. I don't know enough about these things to give an honest 5 out of 5 rating, but I think it's done everything that I expected it to do. So, and it's half the price, or less than half the price of some of the better battery ones, So thumbs up in my opinion for 4-year warranty. Just go hard on it, just don't neglect it, otherwise they probably won't give you a warranty. But if you just look after it, don't try and do the impossible, I think that it should last quite well. Okay, see you guys.